Hello, everyone. So let's start our webinar. Welcome to today's Impact EdTech webinar series showcasing the Silenole solution. It is our pleasure to welcome you all here today. Thanks so much, everyone, for attending. My name is Maria, and I work with European SchoolNet, who are hosting today's event. I'm joined today by my colleague, Romane. I will moderate today's event, and Romane will be working in the background on Teams, ensuring that everything runs smoothly throughout the webinar. Dear attendees, please note that in order to receive your certificate of participation at the end of the event, you need to fill in the signature list. I have posted the link in the chat. Thank you. So first, let me tell you a bit about Impact EdTech. We are a European incubator accelerator for startups and social and medium enterprises. We are a consortium of 3 partners. European SchoolNet, it is a network of 33 European ministries of education. EST, which is a worldwide leader in digital education, and Funding Box, which is a EU expert in funding opportunities, knowledge, and connections. So over the past 2.5 years, we have supported 43 European innovators to thrive and develop their digital educative solutions. We have achieved this via 3 open calls. Silenole is a participant of our third and last call, which is ending at the end of this month. The third open call targeted EdTech solutions that can work towards more inclusive education, personalized learning, skills development relevant in today's world. We had a total of 278 eligible startups that applied, but only 17 were selected to take part in the first part of the program, incubation program. And out of these, only 8 startups made it to the second stage, acceleration stage. Silenole is actually one of them. And we are very happy to have them today, as well as the piloting team. Today's webinar aims to showcase the results of this acceleration stage, where the startup had the opportunity to pilot their solution in schools and classrooms across Europe. We will hear today from the startup, educational mentor, and piloting teacher about the experiences and results of the program. Also, I would like to add a few words about Impact EdTech and what makes it unique. So we envision that the acceleration stage of Impact EdTech to be equally beneficial for startups, their mentors, as well as their teachers and schools involved. It provides the startups with access to equity-free financial support and business and educational mentoring. And when it comes to teachers and schools, they get access to most innovative technologies. They have the opportunity to try the newest products on the market, to test them, and to provide the feedback. Finally, in doing so, they contribute to supporting innovators in improving their solutions and ultimately achieve EdTech excellency. Thanks again to everyone for attending. We hope you will enjoy today's webinar. This is the end of our short introduction. In a minute, I will give the floor to our speakers. But on the current slide, you can find the Impact EdTech social media, as well as my personal email and the email of my colleague Romane. Reach us out in case you would like to find out more details about the project. And if you have any questions, please do not hesitate and contact us. Now I will introduce you to our Silenole team and today's speakers. Please greet and meet our Silenole piloting team. First, we will start today's webinar with Dahi, Silenole's educational mentor, who followed the startup during the full 3-month acceleration program. Then the floor will be given to Juan Carlos, our piloting teachers from Spain. And finally, we will hear from Juan, the startup representative and CEO and founder of Silenole. So let's start with Dahi. Please welcome our first speaker. The floor is yours. I will stay here muted and will occasionally jump in and moderate the discussion. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Maria and Romane, and hola to all of our friends, especially to Juan and Juan Carlos. And it is a privilege to be here again with Impact EdTech EU. I would like to start today's few moments with the following statistics, and I please ask you for forgiveness, but it is important to know this. UNESCO in 2020 went on a global research to look at bullying in schools. They found that 33% minimum of all children in schools experienced severe forms of bullying. In Scandinavia in 2020, the research showed that 60% of all bullies had at least one conviction against the law by the age of 24. In the United States, research in 2020 showed that 1 in 4 bullies had 2 convictions by the age of 24. And in Ireland in 2021, Trinity College showed that 74% of all primary elementary school children experienced bullying, which affected their lives at one level or another to significance. Those statistics, colleagues, are staggering. And that is why it was such a privilege to work with Silenole, because the solution that is offered with Silenole addresses this vital aspect of life. And it is, people are either at ease or at dis-ease. And when you can intervene with something that is effective, when you can intervene with a proven, coexisted model based on scientific evidence, and you can give teachers and students and whole school communities the platform which enables, empowers, and engages the whole school community to stop these statistics from destroying #NextGenerationEU and global, then not only are you saving the world the millions and billions of euros and dollars in picking up the pieces afterwards, which the statistics show us affect anxiety, depression, sleep, eating disorders. And I know the statistics in many ways can be reinterpreted, but the reality is bullying is not a good thing for the bully and the perpetrator. So what are the main achievements here? In my time with Silenole, I can say the following. The main achievement was that it was able to work with schools in 3 different countries, look at the various different aspects of legalities and policies, the way that schools and teachers looked at how life was, and able to evolve as a platform, as a company, and revolutionize that platform and that system, which is based on scientific evidence, to actually enable schools, engage students, and empower whole school communities to address this issue of mind, behavior, bullying, and school climate. This changes lives. The collaboration process showed us many, many different things of how each country has their own way of dealing with personal information, GDPR. So the collaboration process for the company was extremely beneficial because the team at Silenole had to, at all times, be ready to change, to listen to evolve, to change what was necessary to ensure that 3 different countries in 3 different parts of, indeed, you had Portugal, Spain, and Sweden, and you had 3 countries that actually showed Silenole what were the expectations of schools in order for the platform, the solution to work. The strengths, I think, were clear. It is working. It has worked. The feedback we've had from a SCOT analysis, which I've had the pleasure of doing with the teachers, is that this works in schools and it changes lives. It empowers schools to have a formative way of gathering the metrics and the data within the various regions' GDPR and policies to actually effect change for the bully and the perpetrator, and to empower teachers with programs, with the necessary lessons, with the necessary things to ensure that the whole school community is there together. The opportunities for the company, I think, are incredible. I've just read out Ireland, USA, Scandinavia, and UNESCO. This is a global problem. The opportunities that are there for Silenole right now are to change lives. And now it is something that in the Impact EdTech EU, we were able to learn so much more. The challenges, we have emerging technologies. We have different GDPR systems in countries. We have different ways of doing it, different languages, how to ensure validity and reliability. But this pilot has shown that Juan and Carolina and the team have done that. And Juan Carlos, I'm sure, will speak more about that. What are the threats? The threats, I think, are simple. That somehow people might think that bullying doesn't exist. Sure, we have a little policy that works in our school. This is something that works for us. The threats, I think, are coming from people not realizing that when you are bullied at a young age, it affects you for the rest of your life. So I think the Scott analysis showed, and particularly in the conclusions of my recommendations, it also was open and empowered students of different abilities, children who were differently abled. So for example, instead of having a system, Silenole had of inviting students and teachers to take part, they had to come up with new emerging technological solutions to ensure that the metrics and the data provided the necessary information to intervene, to empower, also changing things like open links down to QR codes. These are things that I would have recommended to the company. But overall, and I'll finish now, educationally, what Silenole has offered schools in means by which what they have achieved by evolving with each feedback, by connecting with each teacher, by providing the necessary engagement face-to-face and virtual with the teachers in the 3 countries, has engaged, empowered, and enabled the company to change and evolve to now have a platform and a solution that pretty much can go into any country in the world to address the following again. I'll finish where I started. UNESCO, 33% of all children in the world are experiencing significant bullying. 1 in 4 bullies has a criminal record by the age of 24, USA and Scandinavia, and Trinity College Dublin, 74% of all children experience bullying during elementary education. Ladies and gentlemen, this is about life. This is about human beings. And it has been a privilege to work with Silenole on a system which I now know, which I have had the privilege of seeing, Maria and Romane, working in schools to, we would say in French, changer la vie d'un seul enfant, to change the life of one child. One, it has been a privilege to see the effect that the platform has had and will have. And I throw this challenge out. Those of you who think you are kings of artificial intelligence, talk to one, because Silenole is the future. All you other ed techs out there, your solutions are incredible. I am humbled. Together, you are stronger. Gracias.
Thank you very much, Dahi, for your figures that you presented. They're terrifying, and we hope that Silenole indeed is our future. So let's hear now and give the floor to Juan Carlos, our pilot teacher from Spain, who will share his feedback, his experience, because he tested the solution in classroom. Here you go, Juan Carlos.
Hi everyone. Well, first of all, I have to thank Daihi for those words and that info that is very unknown by many people in the world. So it is crucial to know that information. So thanks for those numbers, because those numbers correspond to lives, as you said before. And well, we have to humanize the world in our uh, administration and all over the world, included the European Union. So thanks for those words and those psychological aspects you were talking about. And then I have to thank the European SchoolNet for the support that is given to this kind of startups like Silenole, which is really powerful and which is really unknown as well, because bullying is a trendy, you know, nowadays, and not very much information and not very much money is invested in those methods just to know about bullying. So thanks to European Schoolnet to support this kind of startups. Then I have to thank Juan Muzquiz as well, which is the CEO coordinator of Silenole, who went to our city, Ceuta, in Spain, just to train us just for a while, and which experience was really interesting and really amazing. So thanks to you as well, Juan. And then talking about the experience, well, let me tell you that if Silenole works and worked in Ceuta, I can assure you that Silenole is going to work all over the world. We have experienced so many problems, so many problems from the very beginning, because the scenario was a bit complicated. Let me tell you about that. Okay, Ceuta is in the north of Africa. It belongs to Spain. It belongs to Europe, but we are in Africa. So the administration gave us some problems in the sense that first it took a bit of time, I would say a long time for me, yes, to take authorization to experience and piloting this method. Uh, well, that barrier was overcame, and then came other barriers that were related to the filters. We have to take into account that we were talking about children, kids who are in primary education, and in Spain, the legislation and the filters are very strict. So when we are dealing with software that kids have to use, there is a strict filter that administration have to control, and that was also overcame. So two barriers were overcame, and then was the third part, which was passing the test to the kids. Well, it takes time, but when you see the kids so confident, yes, taking the tests like if they were doing a normal activity in a class, it's really great to know that the information the kids are going to give you later can give you so much information, not only about the atmosphere in the class, but also about incidences that can occur in the class, kids that can be bullier, or those who are gonna be the perpetrators, or you can control, yes, many aspects in a class. So for a teacher who is not familiarized with that class or that group, the info that you can guess, you can infer, taking these tests or passing these tests to the kids is really really important. As I told you before, I'm a primary school teacher, and primary school teachers in Spain are not very supported by the administration, in the sense that only with a primary school teacher has to face many problems. Just to say, disciplinary problems in school, behavior, yes, psychological ones. So uh, any kind of help, and Silenole is really helpful for a primary school teacher, is really welcome. So once Juan came to Ceuta, yes, to show us learning and teaching, knowing how to do it, I think the activities Silenole proposes are really attractive, functional, effective, and I think they are really nice, even for kids. When a kid is enjoying while learning, it makes their learning fruitful. So, in my personal opinion, this method is really useful, not only for primary school teachers, but also for secondary school ones, for other types of organizations that can work with kids, and of course, with the administrations. Administrations that most of the times um, don't like to face strong problems, and strong problems including bullying. So I foster, I invite not only schools in Ceuta, but schools all over the world. Yes, at least to try, because I think the atmosphere in the class will improve. And if the atmosphere in the class improves, uh, the labor, the task, the job for a teacher is going to be easier when dealing with more than 30 kids in a class, with 30 kids with different difficulties in a class, and with bullying included. So I'm gonna finish as I started, like Dahiti said. If this method works, and it worked finally in my hometown, Ceuta, I really bet that it works all over the world, and of course in Europe. We have to take into account that bullying is growing, like the population is growing, like the problems the society has to face. Because I think that there are many psychological problems in our society. I consider that it is an illness society, and all the medicine that can be used is necessary. So Silenole can be that medicine, can be that helpful tool for teachers, and of course for the administrations. So uh, no bad words for Silenole. I'm sorry, I'm very sincere, but I have to congratulate Juan for the good work he's doing. I know the chassis of the car is not so pretty, but the engine is very powerful, like the one of a Ferrari. So, congrats, my friend. Good job.
Thank you very much, Juan Carlos. It's great to hear that despite so many challenges, you still managed to use the solution and that your students liked using it. So let's hear now from our last speaker, from Juan, the CEO and founder of Silenole, and learn more about the solution itself.
Okay. Well, thank you very much, Taihi, Juan Carlos. I would appreciate later on. Thank you very much to welcome me there in Ceuta, as you did, to other testers. And yes, we were able to test in a short period of time in 3 places. It was in Ceuta, in Porto, and in Stockholm. our solution. In general, when we apply the method, we tend to work with the schools 2 to 3 years. In this case, we were a bit, like a bit short of time, 12 weeks in the last term. That everyone that works in education know that is a difficult moment, even though they give me some time. And what we wanted to do is like let you test a small sample of what Silenole can do. Some ideas related to prevention, some to detection, some to treatment. And I'm willing to work with you three, as you know, in the future as well. I hope we can bring this solution to Ceuta. I'm sure we will find the way. Well, as like he said, I'm not gonna repeat too much, but I would like to give a bit of context of where we are, what was our story in the in Impact EdTech, the problem exactly. Daihi couldn't say better. We tend to think that this is just a problem of the victim, even just a problem of a person that suffers it momentaneously. But as that he said, it has consequences for the future. It has consequences for the witness. It has consequences for the perpetrators, and we need to stop it in order not just for the present, but also for the future of our society. We want to have respectful and societies with good values. We work in before Impact EdTech. We were working with the schools. We had the experience working with the schools. Our idea is to base our practice in deep research and best practices around the world. And our solution it has to go through working with the whole community, working with witnesses, working with all the teachers, and working with families. We saw working in person that in the schools that we were working in, the prevalence rate of bullying was 6 to 8 times lower than in other schools. And before Impact EdTech, we had those results, and we had also this kind of outreach arriving to most places around Spain. When we came with our proposal for Impact EdTech, we said we want to develop a comprehensive management tool that assesses, prevents, and detects and treats bullying in schools and gives really valuable information and tools to fight against this. So we were in the first stage of Impact EdTech, and we focus on two things. Besides the business part, we focus on a tool. We develop the wireframes, let's say the beautiful part of the platform, where we created free profiles for teachers, for families, and for program coordinators, so they could have data. They could have, I'm going to show here a screenshot. They could have like a dashboard where they have activities for prevention, where they have tools, where they have the surveys and reports, etc. And then we focus on another thing. This is absolutely fundamental. It's really important that the families are involved. So we developed online school for families that helps, that engage, that enables the families and empowers them to fight against it no matter what, no matter if your kid could be the victim, no matter if your kid could be the perpetrator, and especially if your kid can be the bystander, the witness that is seeing what is happening and is tolerating this. We created high quality content. Unfortunately, this brought us to Impact EdTech Stage 2. We are really thankful. We received all the help from Daihi, from David, from Leonardo. That was just unfortunately at the beginning, but who was also our educational mentor. And then thank you very much to all the testers. I know our solution wasn't easy. It wasn't a thing about I run an app and I start playing with the app. No, it wasn't like that. We are struggling to change mindsets, to change really the atmosphere in the classes. So it was difficult, and the testers, Ana, Sheetal, and Juan Carlos, you help a lot. I know that you put many more hours than it was agreed. And I want to think that you did it because you believe also in the project. So thank you very much, and also would like to thank the team that worked really hard in order to commit to all the due dates, deliverables, KPIs, etc. I'm going to divide my presentation in two parts. it's quite easy. One part that is then I'm going to talk to about education, another part about business. The first part about education, what it happened is we had these wireframes, we had designed the beautiful part of the platform. Now in the second part, well, you know what? Like they told us in Impact EdTech, they told us, okay, you can choose a strain A or a strain B. A strain A is you need to develop your tool. A strain B you test. And we said, okay, we we go with it. We went with everything. We tested, and at the same time we developed. We didn't have anything before Impact EdTech, so we developed the module of activities, our module of surveys, that we thought, and our experience told us that it was the two modules. They were the two modules more important for the teachers, for the schools, for the families. So we focus on those two. And what we wanted to do is like to be sure that these activities, that these surveys were, we could adapt it to different areas in Europe. We could adapt it the same way to Sweden, to Porto, to Ceuta, and wanted to be sure that everything went perfect. And then check also our module of surveys. I'm going to tell more. And then the second part, I'm going to explain a bit about the business deliverables that we had as well. So first one, we had education deliverable number one. This is, I'm going to explain two. This is the first module, the module of activities. And we said, okay, we're going to develop this module. And also we said, we're going to get a KPI 7 out of 10 in satisfaction of teachers. Teachers are going to tell us if they like the activities, if they like the module, or whether they don't like it. So this is the module of activities. As Juan Carlos said, we travel, we train also the teachers, and this is a bit what the module shows. You have different activities to deal with different problems. We tailor the different activities to a previous assessment. And then you have a video that clearly explains how to do the activity. In general, you have a lot of content out there, but you don't have so many content that tells you what is right, what is wrong, what you need to do in order to do an activity properly with your kids and be sure that it is going to be successful. So you have a video. Later on, teachers will find some slides that tells them step by step how to do the activity with the kids. And also, eventually, they also can complete a questionnaire that tells us whether they like the activity, if they were satisfied, everything. So we are continuously improving our methodology, our activities, and adapting to different teachers, because each teacher likes to do things in a certain way. So that's why that he said that thing about artificial intelligence, that we are trying to adapt this also for our module of activities. Then we want to know if this worked. So let's go to our KPI. Our goal was to get a 7 out of 10. Sorry, a 7 out of 10. So this is teachers told us, are you satisfied with the activities? Do you like them? Do you find them successful and useful? And they told us we achieved a 9.5. Actually, this was more than we expected. We thought 7 was really okay. Our experience is that teachers are really sincere. They don't waste their time. They don't tell you if they don't like something. They tell you right away. They are not going to invest time in something that they don't like. And we got this score. We got a score 83.30% of the teachers told us that they were very satisfied with activities. 14% told us that they were satisfied, so it's also above, and 2.40, that means one teacher told us that he was neutral. We also divided this analysis by countries. In Sweden, they were satisfied, very satisfied, the majority, and we had a 100% of satisfaction in Portugal and Spain. We probably think that this also was because we couldn't spend enough time planning. When we plan, for example, to work with a school, we start the year before. And some activities that we carry on in Sweden were a big mix for primary and for secondary teachers. So we think it's probably because we mix, even though the results are all above our KPI. So we were really happy, and we didn't know how to show it today because we thought they are not going to believe it, but these are the results. And then we also divided depending on the activity. Here there are like 4 activities that we work. First one is, are they lying, good and bad secrets, is it bullying or rumors? The first activity has to do with improving the school climate, improving, allowing those students that are more difficult, that have more difficulties to be part of the group, that tend to be isolated. So this activity focus on helping them to be part of the group. And when they are part of the group, when they have friends, is much more difficult that they are targeted by their classmates as victims. Good and bad secrets is an activity for primary students to differentiate between what is a good and what is a bad secret. Is it bullying? Is to differentiate between what is bullying and what is a conflict. Conflict is part of life. We are all facing conflicts as part of life. Kids too. Kids learn a lot out of conflicts. You don't learn anything out of bullying. So it's really important that they have it clear, as well as the families. And then we work also with activity rumors, which is quite fun, and has to do with the idea of rumors, that is a form of social violence that a lot of times people don't realize that the kind of violence that they are doing against some classmates. So we had a KPI 7 out of 10. We got a 9, so we were quite happy. Then we went to the education deliverable number 2, that it was the surveys. In the module, we saw the module of activities. We're going with the module of the surveys and reports. This means there are activities. This is like Juan Carlos said. It is a module where kids are able to complete in their tablets or computers, or cell phones, even cell phones. They answer some questions, and this gives super valuable data for teachers to know the dynamics in the classroom and act against the dynamics. The process that we follow in order to complete this was, first, we had this module to develop. This is what we presented in the first part of Impact EdTech. Then we needed to create 7 types of surveys. That meant 3 in Spanish, 3 in Portuguese, 1 in English. Then we were able to generate in seconds hundreds of surveys for different schools. And as you can see, kids can complete the surveys in their laptop, tablets, or mobile phones. And this gives indexes, important indexes, and meaningful results for teachers. They access to a private area, everything protected, of course. And then they have clear results, teachers, and they can launch initiatives based on science to improve a student well-being. So we build a solid and useful tool for teachers. It cannot be that shiny, it's not going to be shiny in this moment, but it works. And this is what we care in this moment. Then we needed some of the teachers, some of the testers, you haven't seen this, but also we work, because what we built during the program was just the engine, the core. But now that we have that, what it comes it has huge potential, because now we're going to be able to compare different classes. We are going to able to compare a class relating to the national average. We're going to be able to build predictive models, because we have huge amount of longitudinal data that helps us tackle bullying even before it happens. We're going to be able to establish comparisons. We're going to be able to correlate the results of different surveys. So the potential that it has now to tailor the program to each reality is huge. Let's say that we build during the program the ugly part. What we are doing now, it has much more potential. We can track, for example, if a student is improving in the way he's perceived. We also can track if there are more students who help others, if there are less victims, if there are less perpetrators. So we can track real time, year by year, what is happening in your school. After that, so our KPI was to build 3 surveys. in the end, it went so well that we decided to pass these surveys to all the schools, to some of the schools that we were working with. In the end, more than 2,000 surveys were completed by kids, and we gave the results to the teacher, who obviously like to have this kind of information for this year or for the future year, to be aware since the beginning of next academic year, be aware and be able to put solutions to their violence situations. But of course, what we have now sounds beautiful. Everything looks really nice, but the thing is, if you don't have a sustainable business model, if you don't have something that can last long term, this is not going to work. So we, of course, needed to work also on the business area. And on the business area, we wanted to prove something quite easy. Probably there are people now in the audience that know much more than me about business, but one thing is clear. We wanted to prove our product to market fit. And if you can prove that the people that are working with you are happy, they recommend you. And if you have the capacity to generate new leads, it's quite likely that you can grow in the future. Simple as that. We wanted to say it. So the first one that we had is if we were able to generate new leads. To be sincere, before Impact EdTech, we were quite shy. We didn't have any strategy. You can check. We just have LinkedIn. We don't have distraction from social network. We were quite shy because we didn't have the potential. We didn't have the capacity to reach vast numbers of schools. We couldn't deal with them. So we were in with short number of the schools. So we started in the last term, which also is not the best moment to knock on the school's door. And we started working. We launched a campaign in Google Ads, display, workshops, and activate networks. We launched 3 campaigns in Google with brand families and in general, and we have started learning a lot. We have now data that is going to help us a lot to build something for September. We also did a campaign, a display campaign. Maybe it's a bit difficult to understand if you don't speak Spanish, but the idea is like here we play some messages, like head, the principal, no? Dear principal. Here we play some messages, like the messages that a victim of bullying tends to experience. And then what we wanted to show here is like the purpose of helping. It's really difficult if you work in a school. It's really difficult that you develop the activities, that you are capable of tracking the activities that your teachers are doing, that you got the involvement of the families, that you do everything that science says that is good to improve school climate. So let us help you. There was the idea of the campaign with several banners. And in the end, we got 5 leads generated by Google Ads, 3 that came from the Google display, 7 leads that came from workshops and webinars that we did sometimes with a partnership with some universities. Then in LinkedIn, participating in some conversations related actually to Impact EdTech and word of mouth. So in the end, we were able to generate 21 leads, and actually 2 of them really important. We are starting to work in September, October with a number still to be determined between 10 and 20 public schools in the south of Madrid that came from one of the workshops. And also we're really happy because we are delivering also training, full online training, automatically without something new, just not in person, just everything just online with 4 schools across Spain. So this worked. And then our second KPI was to be able to be recommended by 67% of teachers. We thought this was ambitious, and what we did is quite easy. We went to the schools that we are working with. In the end, they tend to have some of them, they have a training session in the end, and we add a survey just asking, would you recommend Silenole to other teachers? A sample of 141 teachers answer the questionnaire, and we went with a 94% of teachers that would recommend Silenole and 5% that wouldn't recommend. We have 100% among those that are in kindergarten, coordinators and testers. Those would recommend Silenole 100%. We also had good numbers in primary, 96. And then in secondary, that we got an IT. Everyone that works with education, you will probably know that secondary teachers are a bit more tough, but no excuse. We found this a challenge, and we believe that if we are able to adapt more the activities to the way of teaching of the different teachers, we could also raise this percentage. However, this percentage I think is great, and a lot of companies probably would like to be recommended by 90% of their users. So based on this data, we believe that we are capable of acquiring new leads and that we are recommended. So we think that there is a product to market fit for Silenole Digital. Based on all of that, we develop, as you can, people from the consortium. Also, I have some sensitive data, and this is going to be published, but you have there all the data based on these KPIs, on these initiatives. We were able to develop a go-to-market plan, especially for Spain, and it made sense to also to do it for Sweden and Portugal, because those were the schools that we were working with in this contest of Impact EdTech. And we also went through a deep research to detect our user persona and build the channels to get to them. We're going to create much more content in social networks, not just to attract leads, but also because we believe that there is a need to say certain things to society, as Deji and Juan Carlos said, about this problem. A lot of people don't know about sometimes these numbers or about how to deal with this. So we're going to increase our content on social networks. We're going to increase as well our sales force, and we're going to also improve the number of offline and online contents, such as webinar, that gave us really good results. So in order to close the my presentation, and you also have some time to ask me some doubts, I would like to share also a short clip that we did in the end that summarize everything that was done during Impact EdTech. Maria, would appreciate if you could tell me if you can listen to it correctly.
Sure. We can hear. Yeah, perfect.
You can hear? Okay, so this is the video to close.
Thanks, Juan. Thank you for this presentation. Incredible video. Thank you for sharing your feedback and your results. I just have one question for you. Like, how would you describe your impact EdTech experience in one word?
Daihi, Daihi, I saw this video to Daihi, and he told me, "Look, wow, you look 16 on that video." And I said, "Okay, I was 19 before starting Impact Tech. Now I'm 40." Uh, just like that. No, it was what I mean with this. It was a lot of work, but it was absolutely great because we think we evolve. We came with just an in-person solution that was working, but we grew in many areas. I think we grow in the educational part. Now, as we said in the video, now we are capable of reaching many more students and families and schools. That was the whole idea since the beginning. We also had the opportunity to meet great people as the testers, as the mentors with Daihi, with David, with the specialist mentors as well in the bootcamp. So I think it really helped us grow. We had this idea to become digital someday, but probably was an idea that, okay, in 10 years we will do it. Now in just 1 year, we are seeing a whole new thing. A bit with this idea that you have in the bootcamp, no, in the first session, like go big or go home. I didn't believe it, but now I'm also in that idea. So it has been a lot of work, but totally worth it.
Thank you, Juan. What about you, Dahi? Probably you could share with us and tell us a bit more about the way the collaboration was organized between the startup and pilot teachers and you.
And again, thank you. As I said to one today, just look at my hair. That's your future. What should have taken him 40 years took him about 1 year. But it's okay. Carolina and the team came putting black polish on his hair to keep him looking young. Maria, the collaboration and with like Juan Carlos and Chital and Anna, the important thing is that from the outset, they could see in schools, every school. I have had the privilege of spending over 40 years as a head teacher working in schools of 13 pupils and 2,000 pupils. And the one thing that sadly all people and all humankind has in common is there's always someone who thinks that they're better than someone else. And a statistic I didn't give you, which was an interesting one, that UNESCO said that 71% of all people who have ever gone to school witnessed bullying. That's 71 out of every 100 people witnessed bullying. But what did they do to stop it? Juan Carlos and Ana and Chital in Spain and Portugal and Sweden came together and they took this leap of faith. And we did a SCOT analysis and working with a solution. Right now, it's not about the language, even though the solution will have to go into, because it will be successful into so many languages, because the back end, because the platform is so well constructed based on evolving best practice, evolving feedback from the teachers, from the schools, from the students. It now is generating the metrics to the data towards the programs. So that collaboration from the very beginning was exceptional. And 6 months to other, I'm going to be blunt here, 6 months to other EdTech groups turned into less than 3 months for Silenole. Why? Because schools are on midterm, Easter holidays, and then comes the summer, and 6 became 3. So on 50% of the time at best, one was traveling around, we would say in Ireland, like a blue arse fly. He was kind of zzz, he was all over the place trying to get to the schools. Juan Carlos pointed it like, it may sound Spanish, but it's Africa. And going to various schools, getting time to be with the teachers sharing their precious time. That is a huge success. Teachers in these countries actually were willing to take their own time and share it. Why? Pour changer la vie d'un seul enfant. To change the life of one child. And that's what this is about. So the collaboration from the beginning. I mean, when I met the team first time, I was brought in at the very end of it. And I want to thank you, Maria, and particularly Romana, because for the confidence you had for a lunatic like me to come in to something like this and go, I get this. And the reason I got it was my whole life is with children, because I often say to people, if you want the truth, sit down with a 4-year-old and they will say, you've got a big nose. And you go, yeah, I do. Or your eye looks funny. And you go, yeah. They won't lie to you. An adult will, sadly. But also a child, when they're bullied, will tell you, but sometimes they can't tell you. And that's what is happening here. So collaboration from the beginning with schools. And I love that one. It's just the beginning, because this is it. You've now brought Apollo to the platform. Now it's a question of people who really understand what this is, with the business, with the funding, with the financing to come in, because this is it. If you believe in karma, anyone who's listening to me, if you believe in karma, you need to get in on this. Why? Because at least you won't come back as a rat next time. That's about it. But collaboration from the beginning was incredible. The success story that is now on the launch pad. Juan Carlos, I take my hat off to you and what you do every day. I spent my life in it, and Anna and Sheetal as well, and to Carolina and the team. If you are listening, all of you people there, you want to be ambassadors in your schools, get onto one right now. And Impact EdTech, what you have done is exceptional. And you have launched something incredibly wonderful into Europe and into the world. So I thank you as a retired educator for what you have done. But now you need to get behind Silenole and the others and make sure that that damn rocket takes off, because that will take with it, how can we have hashtag NextGenEU kids that are at ease if their minds are being messed up by other kids? And how can we help the perpetrators so that we can stop this statistic of 1 and 2 by the time they're reaching 24 going into criminality? It's costing Europe billions of euros to take care of something that can now be taken care of by Silenole at a much earlier age by intervening. So there's so much more I could say, but to all of you, I want to thank you. But to everyone who's listening out there who wasn't part of this journey, become an ambassador now. Get on the boat, because it's going to leave the quay, and this boat is not called the Titanic. This boat is going to places of space between spaces.
Thank you, Dahi. You've done a great job. Like, you have an incredible team. Let's ask the last question. Let's hear from Juan Carlos. I just would like to know, how did Silenole solution change your way of teaching? And also Shetal and Anna, who tested the Silenole solution as well, please feel free to jump in and participate in the discussion.
Well, if you ask me how Silenole changed my way of teaching, I have to tell you that Silenole implements my way of teaching. Why? Because I am very friendly with kids. So with this tool, I can control more than I do a class. And I can improve the atmosphere of a class much better than I do, because my classes are very happier. You have to take into account that I live in the south of Spain, and in the south of Spain, people are happier because of the climate. So a part of that, that he is saying yes, it's true, and this kind of tool can implement my teaching, but not only my teaching. I assure that if our European politicians care about our educations, and I mean educations in plural, because each country has a different system, they would include a kind of Silenole tool inside their curriculum as compulsory, because it avoids many problems, not only psychological, mental problems, behavioral problems. And if you face those problems, you are facing healthy problems as well. So European politicians should take that into consideration. So it's part of the solution, not only educational one, but also a healthy one. So
Thank you. Thank you, Juan Carlos. So, thank you very much. Incredible answers. We do not have, unfortunately, much time left. It's time to wrap up our webinar. I want to thank you for being here, for sharing your results. You've done a great job. I wish you all the best for the future. Now it's time to rest a bit and enjoy your summer break. So, thanks a lot and goodbye. Goodbye, everyone.
Thanks and goodbye, Maria. Thanks, Juan. Thanks, Dahi.
À la
Was a
prochaine.
pleasure.
Thank you, everyone. We
Bye-bye.
keep in contact.
Adios.